The United States and Panama signed an agreement Monday to block migrants who use the treacherous Darién Gap jungle to reach the American southern border. Under the joint initiative, American officials will help the Panamanian government deport migrants who entered Panama illegally from Colombia using the largely lawless corridor. In recent years, Panama has reported record numbers of crossings along the road in the Darien jungle, including over 500,000 in 2023 alone. CBS News immigration and politics reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez joins us from Douglas, Arizona. Camilo, how significant is this agreement? Well, we'll start there.
Hi, John. This agreement with Panama is the latest step taken by the Biden administration to try to reduce illegal crossings here along the U.S.-Mexico border. And it is also the latest measure that the administration has taken to take a more regional approach to this incredibly vexing and complex issue of migration across the Western Hemisphere. As you mentioned, the Department of Homeland Security is now preparing to send a team of U.S. immigration officials and asylum officers to Panama to help their counterparts there screen migrants who make asylum claims, but also to deport and repatriate migrants who are not able to meet the eligibility requirements for legal protection in Panama. And most of these migrants, as you well underscored, are crossing the notorious Darien jungle that divides Panama and South America. Hundreds of thousands of migrants, John, have been crossing this roadless jungle that divides Panama and Colombia to try to reach the U.S. in recent years, including 500,000 just last year.
And how's the cost? Who's going to cover the cost of doing these deportations?
This will all be subsidized, John, via State Department funds. The Congress was already notified that the State Department will be sending money and allocating funds towards this effort. And again, it is an American-driven and subsidized program, but it is important to underscore, John, that Panamanian authorities will be the ones screening migrants and deporting them to countries like Venezuela or other nations across Latin America that are seeing some of their citizens cross the Darien jungle. The U.S. will not directly be involved in deporting people. The extent of the help that the U.S. will provide will be limited to training and financial assistance.
Panama's new president, who took office on Monday, has faced pressure to curb the illegal immigration. What's his, how's he responding to this, or what's he saying about this?
Yeah, Panama's new president has taken a very tough stance against migrant arrivals across the Darién Gap, vowing to close the jungle to migrants and also accusing international aid workers who work in this region of facilitating illegal immigration. It is still very unclear how the new president would be able to accomplish a goal of closing the border. We've heard that rhetoric here in the U.S., John, and as you know, closing a border is not an easy task for sure, and some say it is actually impossible because of operational, logistical, and legal reasons. But that is what the president in Panama has vowed to do, to close the border to recent arrivals. And this agreement with the U.S. certainly indicates that this new administration in Panama wants to deport more people from the Darién Gap and reduce the number of people who are crossing that jungle.
Camilo, this agreement has apparently been in the works for months. What do you make of the timing of this announcement?
Yes. Well, as you know, the Biden administration has been taking several actions to try to curb illegal immigration here at the border. More recently, the administration issued that sweeping executive action by President Biden that is disqualifying most migrants from being able to request and win asylum here at the border. That has allowed U.S. border officials, John, as we have discussed, to more quickly deport thousands of migrants on a weekly basis to Mexico across this wall or to their home countries without allowing them to request asylum in the first place. The administration also announced today, John, that it conducted the first repatriation flight to China since 2018. We have seen record numbers of Chinese migrants come to the border in recent years. And so this agreement with Panama, rather, is the latest effort in this broader campaign by the Biden administration to try to reduce the number of people crossing the border before the election. And so far, U.S. officials would say that these policies are working. We have seen a dramatic drop in illegal crossings In June, Border Patrol recorded the lowest level in illegal crossings along the border since President Biden took office.
Camilo Montoya-Galvez in Douglas, Arizona. Thank you, Camilo.